What's up? How's it going? I hope you're doing good. Tough times right now. If you're in the US, you know what it is, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So, um, I'm reviewing some By Storm, the new version of Injury Reserve, and the name describes it all. They're coming in by storm, baby. I like it. Richie and their producer, I forget his name, but that producer's nice with it. Of course, Richie's nice with it too. Groggs was the best member, which is too bad. Gotta miss Groggs. Man, when I first listened, by the time I get to Phoenix, I listened to it right when it dropped, and I was going through some shit, and now I was like out of it as well. That album hit, and I checked out all of Injury Reserves, like old stuff, just besides one album. And I was like, wow, these guys are so experimental. They're so genre pushing. They're so vulnerable with their writing. Um, and they don't really get recognition like that. They have a fan base, so they have a core fan base. And it's great to see that this new album by Storm is getting listeners. Um, so it's really cool. I think the production, like usual, I'm gonna look up the producer's name. Just one sec. It'll only take a sec. Parker Corey. That's it. Parker Corey is extremely experimental with this production. I know there's videos of him in sessions with JPEG Mafia, and I wonder if he gained some of his production styles from him. People like Flume. There's just like videos with them on the internet, and it's interesting because he has that very industrial, experimental hip hop rap, and he's kind of like there's like a big three of like experimental, um, and industrial. Back in the old days, Arm& Hammer was a little bit of that. Same with Billy Woods. And they were obviously peak, but um, I would say Clipping, Death Grips, and Injury Reserve were really the ones for that type of thing, and just underground. Um, and it's funny, they all have like white producers, and then they just got black rappers, and like it's an interesting dynamic. I would say that um I like everything they're doing. I think I was a little nervous for this album um because I was worried that it would be like one of those posthumous albums like by like Juice WRLD's label or whatever the fuck, um where they just fuck it up and it just wouldn't be that good. But I know Richie already made an album, and people said that shit was good, so it's great. Um, I think that Richie has vulnerable lyrics, but he's elusive as well. He alludes to different things um by his way of select word choices and kind of referencing aspects of his life that have occurred in the past and are occurring in the present, as well as his fears and hopes for the future. It really is just an analysis of himself and his life through this. And of course, Grog's passing is just such a large part of that, um, at least of it recently. But he reflects on the old days back when he was just chilling, happy, and then even prior to that, where he was worried, just on his own, hadn't even found his people. And then he looks at now and just wondering what's next. I think the album picks up a little bit, gets starts out. Um, it's like a roller coaster. It starts out up here, or maybe like right here, mood wise, like kind of sad, but still optimistic, and then it dives and you really feel how he's feeling, and then towards the end it lifts up a little bit more, where you get some of his real uh optimism for the future, even though it's still painful. And I think it's really impressive. I think that it's not I added 2 songs to playlist, couple more might get added. I think it's great music. I don't really listen to Injury Reserve much on playlists though, just because it is so out there. Um, I can't really play it on aux, let alone just bump it when I'm just trying to take a shit or something. Like I can't do that. Like it's gonna distract me because it's so unique. Some unique music people don't like because it makes them think. And sometimes I'm too simple-minded to even just sit through just how much they're just doing with their records. So I only had two records from this album to the playlist so far. I added "Can I Have You for Myself," the first song of the album, and then I added "Zigzag," "Zigzag Zigala," "Assalamu Alaikum." I remember I read some like 5% Nation books, so it was interesting actually. Um, but yeah, I think that yeah, that's about it. I guess I don't have much else to say, but make sure you take care. I thought Grammys were fine if I were to comment on that 2026 for 2025 year. I thought, you know, I love Kendrick. I think Clips could have won more, honestly. Um, but Kendrick's one of my favorite rappers of all time. He's the one who got me into lyrical hip hop because he was so mainstream yet so lyrical. Even when he dropped To Pimp a Butterfly, because everyone knew him after he dropped Good Kid, Mad City. I mean, that was a huge album. Um, and I was in sixth grade. My friend introduced me to Lil Uzi Vert. Um, and then I was just on YouTube for like 2 hours a day after school, just scrolling through rap music, and just looking at shit. And I found Kendrick Lamar, and it was like 2015. It was right when To Pimp Butterfly, and I just listened to those songs. I think it was the first album I ever listened to in whole, and I don't think I listened to like an album in full for like honestly like 5 years after until like 5 years after that. Maybe I listened like one other like random album in between them, but I've listened to at least 1,000 albums, but it's only recently that I've been listening. And so To Pimp a Butterfly, I mean, people blaze it, people say it kind of suck Kendrick's dick for it, but I'm happy he wins all these Grammys. He's now the most nominated rapper for Grammys. And I think that's cool, honestly. I think he deserves a Pulitzer Prize and all that. I think Nas should have gotten more flowers over the years. I think he's great. Tupac from places like the Grammys, but it's still great just to see actual real people getting Grammys. I think they had decent selections this year overall. I think Bad Bunny, good stuff, honestly. I think his latest album seemed decent. I think that's about it though. Make sure that you go out there, win a Grammy, whenever you want to win. Maybe it's just a win from within. Just whatever makes you happy, makes you feel like your life is fulfilled. Keep on pushing with that, and also just enjoy yourself. So, peace.